We live. What's up, chat? Let's see. I just had a crazy interesting conversation with my barber today. We were talking about just the ability to self-reflect and how it's super important for just advancing in life. I'm sorry. Let me I'm gonna share this stream with my main channel too to make sure people spill over if they want to watch. Let's see. Let me share this over. Actually, let's go here. One second, y'all. I'm trying to share this video over with my main channel. Community post. Let me make one. No, but yeah, we were having a really interesting conversation. We were just talking about like the ability to self-reflect and how much of a benefit it is. But the fact that you only really get the ability to self-reflect if you're competitive. You know, that's why like competition make things better, because you have to be able to self-reflect in order to compete effectively. So like we were just talking about that and just discussing how the ability to compete just gives you, or the ability to self-reflect just gives you such a huge advantage in life. Let me post this in here. W take or L take, chat. The ability to self-reflect is OP. In all honesty, everybody that I've ever met that's been interesting in my life has had the ability to self-reflect. If you don't have that ability, it just seems like you're talking to an empty vessel. Because, like, what can they do to help you in your journey if they've never even, like, self-reflected enough to understand? Like, you know, like, it's something about it. I don't know. I'm going to get into the video, but I'm just trying to be patient with me here. Because I understand it probably ain't going to be that many people, but I'm going to see if we could get more over. Let me share this link. Okay. Okay, here we go. 1 second. And I'm going to start the video right after. Live right now. It's crazy because no matter how good I get like at other stuff, I cannot for the life of me understand like how y'all can spell so well. Like how people can spell well, bro. Like it's like I over like pronounce the word and it makes me spell wrong all the time. I have a bad thing with that. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, okay. We're live. Or I mean, I got the post going. Let's go ahead and get right into the video though. Me too.
Femininity. That is saying you should all be terrified, you men, if you put one
of assaulting.
Well, I think we all understand what sexual assault is.
Assault?
What is
okay.
I was talking
Here
about
we go.
is that young teenage clumsiness in
Here we go.
which is now being talk about
Men should be frightened. Ava debates panel on Me Too movement effect on men.
Piers Uncensored. Revelations about disgraced movie director Harvey Weinstein's abuse of women sparked a global reckoning with predatory male behavior. But 5 years on from what became known as the Me Too.
Can you guys see everything? Everything good over on y'all end?
People argue it's become divisive. Pitting the sexes against each other with an assumption of male guilt, leaving many young men feeling marginalised. Recently, you two people at the forefront of that backlash, albeit with very different styles and rationales. Peace psychologist Dr. Jordan Peterson.
Bro, that's my dog, bro. I'm not gonna lie, chat. I enjoy Jordan Peterson. I know that's gonna sound a little gawky, but I enjoy a little Jordan Peterson, bro.
And earlier this week, I spoke to Andrew Tate, the so-called toxic male influencer who's now banned from social media. The full explosive interview airs tomorrow night, but here's a little taster of that.
I believe that confident, strong men who stand up and protect and provide for women are a good thing for the world and a good force for the world. And I don't think that I put a magic spell on anybody. I think there's a whole bunch of men in the world who understands my value. And if If men grow
W Tate, or whoever seen this interview, W Tate or L Tate for this interview? Because I personally thought that he did a good job at representing like kind of the red pill manosphere, I guess. But I could understand how if you didn't understand the basic concepts for the red pill, if you were a person that just didn't understand the things that we talk about often, it would be easy to see how Piers kind of vilified him. Because I thought that's what Piers was doing the whole time. He was just trying to vilify the dude.
up to be like me, you're going to have
Criminal
a bunch of
down
people
there.
with no criminal record, dedicated athletes who protect and provide for the people close to them, are fantastic for the economy, and I'm certainly not the worst influence out here, Piers.
Well, clips of both of those interviews have exploded online. Literally millions of people have been viewing them. Jordan Peterson, for example, the whole interview has been viewed 5.5 million times on our YouTube channels, rightly or wrongly. There's clearly a huge groundswell of interest, at the very least, in their views, if not support. So was Me Too an overdue reckoning, or has it become a damaging battle in a raging culture war? Isabel still with me, plus political journalist Ava Santino, and conservative commentator, a young man who agrees with Peterson and Andrew Tate, Connor Thomason. Connor, welcome to the show. Let me start with you. I found it very interesting interviewing Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate, both very controversial characters in different ways. Both positioned as a kind of kings of toxic masculinity.
I just don't understand, bro. Like, I'm really trying not to laugh because I don't understand how Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson are seen as, like, controversial, bro. Like, how did the world get to the point where people are so unwilling to compete? Like, I just don't, I don't know, bro. I just don't get it. How in the...
Get in there.
Let's just
I
keep
didn't
going.
think Jordan Peterson was that. And when it came to Andrew Tate, I couldn't really conclude after 90 minutes of grilling him. I gave him quite a hard time. I couldn't really conclude what he had done that was so bad that he had to be expunged from social media life altogether. But it showed me the sensitivity around all this. And if any man now behaves in a way that looks like it's toxic masculinity, bang, they're expunged. Is in that process masculinity itself getting expunged and demonized?
I would say so. I mean, I'm sure that you'll have this experience with your own relationships, Piers, in that women, if you say something controversial, whether it's something on the Peterson side of the spectrum or on the Tate side of the spectrum, a little bit more explosive or a little bit more academic, some women are very much drawn to a man who can be a bit more confrontational, say exactly what he thinks. It's the verbal new version of what gladiators used to do in the arena way back.
Well, certainly, I think Ava and Isabel are laughing because
That might have been a reach. I don't know about all that. Let's not get carried away. Ain't nobody getting their head chopped off, but I mean...
they're drawn to me in that way because of my combative nature. But Ava, you're smirking and laughing. I mean, there's a serious point here. A lot of young men feel they're getting disenfranchised by society. They're all being over-demonized. Any attempt to be the traditional male figure is now being rubbished and called toxic.
Well, I mean, if you really felt that and you really went out there and you were an alpha male, then you wouldn't be bothered about a bunch of women telling you that you were...
Well, you would if you get cancelled, like Andrew.
Yeah, I was about to say, you would if they take away your livelihood. You would if it gets to the point where every platform that you can exist on and talk to other men on are controlled by people who get to control the narrative through ad dollars, controlled through companies who essentially just want to sell shit to women. Like, then it would start to bother you a little bit. When the people in power are so weak that they're allowing just dogma to just fill in our spaces where we're supposed to communicate, that's when it's going to start to bother you as a masculine dude because you understand the tyranny that's going to come. And when people aren't willing to basically think for themselves, I know people have heard that quote, like, if you don't think for yourself, somebody else is going to think for you. I think that's so true. I think it's so true. And we need masculine guys to be that wake-up call. When society don't need masculine dudes, they throw them by the wayside because they think, oh, they're just a risk. They're just too much. It's too much risk. They're unsafe. But as soon as the Huns come over the hill, soon as China come knocking, soon as Russia starts sending over the missiles, and I don't know if y'all seen just recently, Russia. Maybe I'll pull this article up. Maybe I'll pull this article up quick. Let's see. See if this is. It's getting hot. It's getting hot. Hold on, I'm trying to find it. I know Tim Pool posted about it, but basically Tim Pool, I'd have to look it up. I'd have to keep looking into it. Hold on 1 second. Here it is. Russia bombs German consulate in Kiev. Bro, it is getting hot outside. And I'm trying to tell you, when nobody want masculine men around because they're a problem, they're a nuisance. But as soon as it gets serious, they're gonna be wanting you. They're gonna be wanting you to go to war for them. It's crazy.
If you get banned from
I
every
mean, he's
social
hardly
media
been
platform.
cancelled. He was on your programme, which is on national television.
But
so
it's the
that's
only
hardly a
platform actually he's had
cancellation.
for a long time because all the social media companies banned him, literally banned him. He had his email gone, his Google gone, his Facebook gone. It all went down like dominoes.
Bro, I need people to understand that. We've gotten to the point where companies have gotten so powerful that they took away his PayPal, bro. They took away his ability to access the current, like his livelihood, the money that he earned legally. They took away his ability to access that. That's a problem, bro. That's a big deal. And it was completely unrelated to majority of those companies. They banned him on Airbnb. That's crazy. And I'm trying to tell you right now, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but they're trying to put chips in people's hands. They're trying to get you into a digital currency so they can do the same thing to you. And it's coming. Because what they're going to do is say that we're using this technology to protect you from guys like Andrew Tate until they start to use that same power on you. Because that's how it works. It works like that every single time. They act like, oh, you're safe. We're just going to attack the bad guy. And I think I used this example before, but when it came to income taxes, they were supposedly just for the rich. Poor people weren't going to get income tax. But then, like always, you give people power, eventually they take more. That's just how it works. It works that way every time. And this is too much power, bro. That is too much power. What did he do wrong? The only thing he did wrong was go against the common narrative that they want to feed you so that you can continue to just think that you're going to find happiness through material goods. That's it. That's the only thing he did wrong. That's crazy, bro.
He's still on there, very, very prolific on there. I can't move for clips of
Yeah,
him
but they're
on
not
TikTok.
generated by him now.
But that's been for quite some time.
But should he
He's still
be
got
punished that way?
But what is punished? What is punished? It's
Punish
just-
is
he's
where
obviously-
companies take a decision which, in my view, in this case, was perverse because they still allow, for example, the Ayatollah of Iran to
Yes.
have a Twitter account.
Yes.
So there's a...
So you mean to tell me, bro? You mean to tell me they thought, and they can rationalize the idea that the Taliban can still have a Twitter, but Andrew Tate was more dangerous than the Taliban. The people that they've been telling us to send our troops over to fight over the fear of I'm not going to say the thing that happened, but just people in general, like they're telling you that we're supposed to be afraid of terrorists, but then they allow them to have Twitter accounts and not Andrew Tate. What did he do that was that bad? What did he do that was worse than the Taliban? Even if you don't agree with what he's saying, what did he do that was worse than the Taliban? It's crazy. And we've given them people that
There's
much
no
power.
consistency here at all.
Well, but however, we love a bit of free market. I'm sure you do, judging by that suit, which is lovely. But you know, social media companies are private companies.
Can you
and
not
they can do
objectify
whatever
him,
they can do.
I'll take
whatever
all the
they like.
objectification I like.
Of course he will, yeah. All right, Isabel.
But Ava, your point about, you know, if men were that alpha, then they wouldn't be that bothered by this, doesn't really help us when it comes to boys growing up. And that is one of my worries, that for teenage boys now, they are so terrified of the consequences of putting a foot out of line. It's hard enough being a young teenager, working out how things are, working out how to do dating and all of that, without the terror that if you touch in the wrong place at the wrong time, you may find that your whole life is destroyed.
see, I
Yes,
like that.
and the thing is, bro,
I like
the thing
that.
is, women are so unempathetic of that fact. It is extremely hard to do. It's an entire part of a man's livelihood. I mean, not livelihood, but just his life experience. There's always a particular time where boys are supposed to learn how to interact with girls. And you start to learn that the boys who do it the most, especially in that particular time, tend to do far better with women going on in life. Now, whether they allow their addiction to having random women or women like drag them down and never be productive in life, some of them do. But they tend to be better with women long term because they've had that developmental phase. Boys don't have that developmental phase anymore. They're told when they have that phase, they're in the wrong. And nobody sees that as a problem. The only way It can't exist like that, bro. Family is going to die off. And I get all this shit is just to kill family. They don't want you to have family. They don't want you to be happy. They want you to find happiness through pleasure, not genuine fulfillment and hardship and hard work. They want you to just sit down and be a blob so they can sell you things and they can take more of your power through offering you what's the word I'm looking for? Convenience. That's what it is. They're taking your power and offering you convenience and continuing to make you fat and lazy, so you're more accepting of the convenience when it comes. Guarantee you. I get that goddamn microchip is gonna come in the form of allowing being able to get $20 off of Papa John's pizza. It's gonna come in the form of getting 20% off of Papa John's pizza. That's where it's gonna come from, because people are just so late. They don't even, bro. It's crazy.
As a mother of a teenage boy, I don't like that terror.
That's the malicious thing I've ever heard.
That is
I
awful.
think that men should be frightened.
What did
Without
she say?
the terror that if you
Let me go back a little bit, chat.
Punished. What is punished? It's
Punish
just,
is where companies take a decision which, in my view, in this case, was perverse, because they still allow, for example, the Ayatollah of Iran to
Yes.
have a Twitter account.
Yes.
So there's no consistency here at all.
Well, but however, we love a bit of free market. I'm sure you do, judging by that suit, which is lovely. But you know, social media companies are private companies.
Can you
and
not
they can do
objectify
whatever
them,
they can do
I'll take
whatever
all the
they
objective.
like.
That is
Of course you will, yeah. All right, Isabel.
But Ava, your point.
That's
about
such a bad answer.
if men were that alpha, then they wouldn't be that bothered by this. Doesn't really help us when it comes to boys growing up, and that is one of my worries. That for teenage boys now, they are so terrified of the consequences of putting a foot out of line. It's hard enough being a young teenager, working out how things are, working out how to do dating, all
Right.
of that, without the terror that if you touch.
Every time, bro, every time she says that, it just resonates.
Is destroyed,
See, I
and there
like
is
that
far
terror.
too much. Well,
I like that.
As a
I think
mother
that
of a
men should
teenage
be
boy, I
frightened.
don't like that.
What? That's disgusting, bro. That's disgusting. That's the equivalent, bro. What? She likes that terror. That's what her response was to the fact that boys are gonna miss out on an important developmental part of life that's gonna help them achieve better things in life later on in life. What if somebody told you about the problem of women or young girls being more depressed because of Instagram and social media, and you went, I love for them to have that terror. It's gotten so bad, the hatred for men has gotten so bad that it's starting to affect boys. Boys that haven't even gotten a chance to live yet. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Bro, hold up. We gotta do push-ups, bro. I'm trying to tell y'all, I've been thinking about this shit lately, and just obesity alone is keeping men down, bro. We cannot keep being weak. We cannot keep being weak, bro. Just obesity alone, if you can stop being obese, your testosterone is gonna go up. You're gonna feel happier. You're gonna feel like you wanna pursue more. You're gonna feel like you wanna fuck more women. It's just gonna be better in life. We gotta do push-ups, bro. Give me 10 push-ups, chat. And I just got done lifting Big Shirley. I just got done power cleaning 265 pounds today. Fuck with me, Poppy. This is crazy, bro. This is wild.
Terror.
I do.
Malicious thing I've ever
That
heard.
is
I
awful.
think that
That's crazy, bro.
I think
to
you'd
touch
feel
women in a way
differently
that
if you
they're
were
not
if you
comfortable
were.
with.
But we're talking about
Yeah, but we're not
teenage
talking
years.
about.
Yeah,
We're not talking
We're
about,
talking about
Yeah,
kids,
but
bro.
It's an interesting thing that you see. I would say that attitude actually is part of the problem too. That is that's to me toxic femininity.
It is.
That is saying
Exactly.
you should all be terrified, you men, if you put one
assaulting.
Well, I think we all understand what sexual
What is
assault
an
is.
assault?
What Isabel's talking about is that young teenage clumsiness
really
in many
hard.
cases, which is now being recategorized.
Facts, like, what is the definition of sexual assault now? And I'm not trying to be funny, I'm not trying to be an asshole. What's the definition of sexual assault? Because I know the definition of the R word used to be a woman literally forced against her will and penetrated. Obviously wrong. Nobody agrees with that. Let me give the disclaimer. You're not Gandhi for knowing that the R word is wrong. But what I'm trying to say is, what's the standard? Because it used to be you had to be held down, and now it's just if a guy coerces you. Now if a guy convinces you to sleep with him, that's the R word. What is the standard for SA now? What is that standard?
As assault. Is that a problem?
It's not being recategorized as assault. It's always been assault. It's just we're finally talking about it.
I don't agree with that.
That's
But
ridiculous.
Teenage boy fumbling with
touch
teenage
on
girl
the
is
knee.
not.
Not
it's
even
not
that.
in most
Exactly,
cases
bro.
Assault, isn't it?
Exactly.
Remember Aziz Ansari, right? Half the heels of Me Too, half the heels of Harvey Weinstein, rightly being dragged through the courts, and he should have got way worse than just prison time, in my opinion. Aziz Ansari had a consensual relationship with a woman. She felt a bit awkward, and afterwards rescinded consent, and he was lumped in, and he had his
No,
career
I'm with you on that one.
cancelled.
I'm with
So
you.
then why should men be afraid of that?
Because he didn't touch her without consent, did he?
No, but she
But
rescinded his consent.
Bro, let's just be completely honest, chat. Let's just be completely honest. How many women want consent with every step of sex? Oh, can I touch your leg? Can I touch your hair? Can I kiss you? Part of what seduction is innuendo. It's kind of insinuating. That's the whole game. That's the whole cat and mouse game that women and men both enjoy. Think about how robotic sex would become if women wouldn't enjoy that, bro. Let's just be honest. If I was just, hey, can I touch your leg? Can we kiss now? Do I get your full consent? Each stroke, every consent? Do I get your... Nobody would enjoy that experience. Nobody. And so the idea that we're just going to sit here and redo all of what it means to interact sexually between men and women is crazy. That's not operating in reality, bro. Yes, if you doing something you ain't got no business doing, you supposed to go to jail. Simple. Obviously, everybody understands that. I don't understand
We're
He
young
saw
boys
that then
supposed to
as a
navigate
thing.
this, the whole
Yeah, I
thing.
agree.
I'm thinking
Well,
of
you
my
need to have-
teenage son. You know, he's 14, 15. What's he supposed to say? Would you mind if I put
Isabel,
my
you are an
hand- I mean,
extremely
come
strong
on,
woman. I
come
know
on.
in your house you're teaching them the difference between assault and then
Of
coming on
course,
to
of
someone.
course.
I know you are.
But what we're talking about is it's been very
Jeez.
interesting in the Me Too movement and the Time's Up movement, how it's all developed. Because a lot of very bad people, Harvey Weinstein and others, got their due comeuppance. We can all agree with that.
Yeah.
This is not even something to be debated.
Bro, she is so biased. Think about this, y'all. She is so biased. And having the preconception that that we should believe all women. She's so biased that she doesn't even recognize the potential. She doesn't even understand in her brain that maybe, just maybe, a small percentage of women, if they have the power to just get a man locked up whenever they want it, would take advantage of it. I can say there's a small percentage of men that commit the R word. Those men are bad. They should be locked, put in a hole. She doesn't even have the ability to even consider that maybe, just maybe, if you give every woman on the planet or in the country the ability to lock a man up instantly just based on what they say happened, some of them would use it. That's not even a possibility in her brain, bro. That amount of bias, you can't even have a conversation with that. You can't have a conversation with a person that has that much bias.
We're really talking about the grey line, right? Where is that grey line? How do you navigate it? When you're an experienced adult and you've been around the block in many ways, you can navigate that much more intelligently and with emotional intelligence than you can if you're a teenage boy. And I think the point Isabel makes is a good one. I've had 3 sons in their 20s. I've always taught them to be respectful to women, and I believe they are. But I do think it's really hard.
You heard the phrase how to treat a woman. You've never heard the phrase how to treat a man. Every single man knows how to conduct himself with women. Some of them they know, but they just don't care. And that's why trying to teach boys more, like every boy, every guy that I know personally, I don't know who y'all hang out with. Everybody I know knows that the R word is bad. Unfortunately, there's just a small percentage of men that will still do it. But they understand that it's bad. That's why they try to hide it. That's the whole point of trying to hide it, because you understand that it's bad. Like, I just don't understand.
For a 16, 17-year-old boy now in this environment to know even how to
They are all
having some
terrified.
kind of physical relationship with a woman.
Those good boys are all terrified. I know that from talking to my son. He's just like, I'm just not going there. Is that healthy?
Yes, I
The
think
other
it is
point-
actually. I think it's better to not have a physical relationship than to have one that could ruin a woman's life.
But then how do they ever start?
Well, don't,
Bingo.
I'm not 100% sure.
What? Are we going
Don't.
for-
What are you going to have? A bunch of neutered boys who
But
never
it's
had...
so obvious.
We actually
It's
do
sort
have
of
that.
like-
Gen Z is having far less sexual relationships
Yes.
than any...
Look. Look.
You
But
never
it's
had.
so obvious.
We actually do
It's
have
like
that.
if
Gen Z is having far less sexual relationships.
This is the topic where we're gonna be But that's disgusting, bro. Like, bro, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's disgusting, bro. That's disgusting. Like, we're talking about young men here being affected forever. Like, potentially. Forever. And she's smirking and smiling. As if this is a joke. They're talking about men and women never being able to connect genuinely. And her response to that is snicker like she's a child, bro. She's acting like a child. People who think this way are literal children. She's unable to understand that there's a potential small minority of women that will take advantage of their ability to take advantage of men. She's unable to comprehend that. She's a child, bro. They're trying to have a child on the Piers Morgan show. This is a child. Get her the fuck on. This is a kid, bro. This is a kid, chat. And the strangest thing is, I know so many, like, I won't just say women. I know so many I will say women. I know so many women that, like, do shit like this. When you're in a serious conversation, every guy knows the women that do this kind of stuff. You understand the characteristic traits that come with the women that comes with a woman that's snickering when you're having a genuine, like, important conversation with them. You know that person. They're always childish, bro. That person is always childish. You can never get any traction with that person because they just think that they're so right that they're not even willing to consider what you're saying. Like, if you can't even be serious enough to not be laughing, like when we're having a genuine conversation, bro. You're a child, bro. You're a kid. We're having a conversation that's gonna affect the world forever, and you're just sitting there snickering. And it ain't and I can see if it was a joke. Like, Andrew Tate will make a joke, Kevin Samuels will make a joke, and it gets funny. I get it, but there's no joke here. This is like somebody saying women are being R-worded, and I start snickering. Automatically, you would be gone, bro. Automatically, but for some reason, when it's young men, not even guys that have gotten a chance to grow up and make mistakes yet, young men, grown ass women can be on the news making fun of the fact that they're suffering, making fun of the fact that so many young boys don't even know what to do and just feel like such failures because they've never been told to push themselves and go out there and compete. They're deciding to end their lives, bro. That's a big problem amongst young men right now. And all you got for them is makeup tutorials. All you got for them is if you're feeling a little sad or if you're feeling a little bit less masculine because you've never had a masculine influence, maybe you're a girl. That's what the solution is for them. Maybe you should just go to Big Pharma and take some more antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications. That's what their solution is for young men. That's all they got. And it ain't much better for young women. It ain't much better for young women.
Yes, they are. It's true.
And
young people have stopped having sex.
I agree with the first part of your sentence, actually. If you're not willing to have a sexual relationship with clearly defined lines, don't have one. And so I actually told my mates at university, don't sleep around with girls. 1, girls don't bring a guy home that you don't know what he's capable of. 2, guys, don't bring a girl home if you think that possibly she could have a false accusation against you.
Can I make another point here?
Which I find, I mean, look, that sentence to me, when I was your age, right? How old are you?
23.
23. When I was your age, the idea you would even have that sort of thought process.
Yeah, I
would
wouldn't
be
have those
unthinkable.
sort of mates that would ever cross the line, so I wouldn't have to have that
I never said
conversation
my
with
mates.
any of my friends.
Don't throw my mates in with a bunch of violent people.
And is there a certain purity?
Like, bro, look, like, she can't have a straight face, bro.
With any of my friends.
Don't throw my mates in with a bunch of violent people.
And is there a certain...
Look. That's disgusting, bro. That is disgusting. This man is talking about his best friends, the boys who held him down, the boys that he's going to be spending the rest of his life with. She's calling them potential R-word-ists. And he's saying, don't make fun. Like, why would you do that? And she's snickering. Bro, that's some freak shit, bro.
Is
That's
there
weird.
a certain purity
That's weird.
Here I'm detecting in a certain type of feminist?
That's
who thinks
weird.
that they're all unimpeachable. and that this is all one-way traffic, and that
quite.
only men can be toxic.
No, I
Because
don't think
I've got to
that.
enlighten you. I've met quite a few women in my life who are pretty toxic themselves,
Facts.
and I don't see the debate being framed around that at all.
Facts, because the idea that there could ever be one woman on the planet that doesn't make good decisions, that has bad intentions for the people that she deals with, that idea is so alien that it can't be possible. That's all it is. It's that simple. That's all it is. The idea that there would be one woman on the planet that would ever take advantage of a man is just so crazy that we have to believe them all anytime they say anything.
Situation where only 5% of rape cases actually even go to trial.
Which is ridiculous.
But that's the
Right.
extreme end of it,
Yeah.
isn't it?
5% of all R-word cases go to trial. Again, so what is that supposed to mean? That all 95% were guilty and they just didn't get caught for it? Or maybe there's a potential that some of them, if it doesn't go to trial, that means there wasn't enough concrete proof to put a person in trial. There wasn't enough evidence to put the person in trial. But the idea that there being a lack of evidence can mean that somebody might not be telling the truth completely is so alien to people. And I understand how this sounds, bro. I already know it's coming, because I already know it's coming. And I'm not saying I wish there was a perfect world where you could genuinely believe every woman because it would solve the problem. It is a very tough situation to solve. Don't get me wrong. I understand. So if you're going to clip the part before, clip that part too, I guess. I understand that there are men like that out there, but then you have to understand that also on the other extreme side of the spectrum, there are also women that are like that. So yeah, we have a problem, but we're never going to have a utopia. Sometimes there are just going to be bad people that exist. And those people, maybe we should put them in prison forever. Fine. But you gotta make sure the guy, he has to have the ability to prove his innocence. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy.
I do,
You're talking
but
about
I'm
rape
talking
here.
about
David, we can all agree
assault.
that's wrong. We can all agree that's wrong.
But okay, so even on the extreme end of it, rape doesn't even go to trial. If you're assaulted, and that is life changing.
Yeah.
What happened to Rose McGowan
Yeah.
with Harvey
I know
Weinstein?
Rose well.
Was
Yeah, but these
life
are
changing,
extreme
and
things.
she didn't get her comeuppance.
Yeah, but
She
Ava, we'd
lost
all
her
agree about
career.
that. Well, I think what has sent a shudder through all of our spines from your mouth today is the line that all young men should be terrified of any physical
assaulting
contact.
someone.
Well, no, you didn't say it like
didn't
that.
say that.
You said basically of starting any physical contact with a
Unless
woman.
you're sure.
Well,
Unless
how
you're
does a
How are you
16,
supposed to
17-year-old
be
boy
sure
know?
when she can rescind consent on something completely nebulous.
Exactly.
Okay, can I ask you this? If you were going to take someone to bed and you weren't 100% sure that they wanted to go to bed with you, would you go with
No,
them?
I would not do that.
Then
But the
that's what
point
I'm
was,
talking
Aziz
about.
Ansari was sure, for example,
The-
and then later.
The problem is you don't become 100% sure by asking them, because if you get weird, the situation's over. Like, let's just be honest, for both men and women. Like, if it gets weird, bro, the situation's over. And you know how we can honestly, you want to know how we can solve this problem? Like, a lot of this problem, and I understand people are going to say marital too, it's possible. We can solve this problem if, like, we just didn't have sex before marriage. And I know that's extreme. I know. Don't get me wrong, that's extreme. It goes against some of human nature when you're a kid and you get really... But that's how you can solve this problem, bro. But nobody's having that discussion either. Nobody's telling young women that maybe, hey, y'all should just wait until y'all get married. Like, wait until you got a man's resources. Wait until he made a commitment to you so that if you get pregnant by him, he will at least be there to take care of the kid, or legally he will be held responsible for taking care of the kid. You'll get more benefits. Why isn't anybody telling young women that? It's like morally, like we were here and now we're kind of like here. But it's like where we were isn't even a conversation anymore. When 40% of people, 50% of people were only sleeping were virgins before they got married, or had one partner, which was probably the person they were marrying before they got married. We existed that way literally 50 years ago. Now to even say that that's a possibility is just misogyny. To say that there's a possibility that women could be disciplined with who they choose to sleep with and demand a commitment before marriage is just crazy. It's alien talk. People don't even understand that anymore.
She went and published a lot.
But a lot of these Me Too problems and a lot of this single motherhood, a lot of the fact that people aren't building families anymore, a lot of the fact that men don't have masculine role models anymore, it all stems from this shit. It all stems from it. Because if you have women in the workforce, now there's nobody home to cook. So now boys are eating chemicals. They're more likely to just be raised off chemicals like fucking cattle, damn near. They're going to be a little bit brain dead. They're going to have less testosterone because they're putting they're putting plastic in the cheeseburgers. So then they're going to grow up naturally weaker. They've never had a masculine influence. Like, all of this stuff plays a part. Kids are getting more anti-depression or more depressed and more anxious than ever before because this is the first generation of kids that were raised by the daycare system instead of a loving mother. Because for some reason, companies convinced her that she's going to find more happiness in material bullshit folding pants at the Banana Republic than she will serving a husband that actually cares about her. Because that's all that happens. Instead of serving your husband, you serve a company. That's the only difference. That's literally the only difference. And instead of having two people to do a household, that's why people working two jobs, bro. I'm not going to lie to you. That's why you see a lot of people working two jobs, because life is it's a two-player game. It's tough. It's a two-player game, especially now, more now than ever. So you see so many people struggling financially and feeling hopeless. Part of it is because you don't want to be in a commitment with another person. You refuse to be. So now when you go home, you go off to work, you're more likely to eat McDonald's too, because nobody wants to cook anymore. Everybody's just eating McDonald's and Wendy's and Burger King. Who benefits from that? Certainly not humanity. Not when there's plastics in some of the food. Like, it's great. Like, all of this stuff is very new, and people don't understand that this is very new. We just dove deep into this thing that we don't even have an understanding of. We've literally, with hormonal birth control and just our ability to cure, like modern medicine with our ability to cure diseases and STDs and whatnot, we have literally become different beings. The technology for a woman to control when she has a child is such a powerful technology that literally damn near turns you into a different thing. Like, it's crazy. And everybody's being split up. All the families, everybody's being isolated. And, we'll see where that goes.
She regretted it and lumped him in with Harvey Weinstein.
I mean,
is that okay?
Ava, do you feel any of it, Ava's gone too far? Do you think the pendulum has gone too far at all?
No, I don't think it's gone far enough.
Bro.
Really?
I don't think we've brought anything into schools. To your point, we haven't brought any teaching into school about what is assault, what isn't. If you're worried about, like, 16-year-old boys not understanding what it is, bring in sexual health lessons. Teach it.
The idea that you can teach rapists not to rape is insane.
Stupid.
They already know.
What do you mean?
Stupid.
Okay, right. You're saying if boys wouldn't know what's assault and what isn't.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. The idea that rather than taking the power out of someone who can make a false accusation is what they're actually, most of them are concerned about. Specifically, my friends, for example, who would never dream of doing something like
Exactly.
that. But then what the feminists fail to understand is you can educate
The
evils.
feminists.
Did you not identify yourself as a feminist study?
No, I didn't actually.
Oh, okay,
Piers
sorry.
taught me
Piers
that.
You're not a
did, so
feminist?
then
It's such a stupid, like, it's that theater bullshit, bro. She damn near doesn't feel human. That's what it is. That's why she seems so untrustworthy. It damn near doesn't even feel human that when we're talking about serious topics, you're snickering like a child and you're just feminist? Like, I'm outraged that you would consider that I'm a feminist. Look, I don't even have to say anything bad, really bad about women, and they will put me in the category of misogynist because I have the ideology of a misogynist, quote unquote. But yet a woman can say something that is obviously geared towards feminism and obviously more of a feminist mindset, very new age think. And if you go, you're a feminist, she can say, no, I'm not. I don't even believe in feminism. We in a weird spot, bro. This is weird.
But Piers labelled me.
Actually,
as
I called you a
that.
toxic feminist.
Okay, then if that's my
I'll take that.
Yeah, of course.
Fair enough. But you cannot, if a rapist is willing to violate the law so violently, you cannot teach him out of that. All you can have is very harsh punishments to deter
No, because
that.
you're talking about the grey line, and the grey line is the parties of not understanding that when a woman is so inebriated.
The gray line is if I'm an ugly dude and I touch you on your lower back versus if I'm a good looking dude and I touch you on your lower back. One of them you'll want, one of them you want, or one of them you'll want, one of them you won't want, and the one that you don't want, you want to be able to lock him up and put him away. That's the gray area, bro. All the gray area is how comfortable a woman feels, but you don't even know that much about a woman usually, especially when you promote hookup culture. How can you promote the Me Too movement and you're so against the R word and you're so against this growth and SA, but you're promoting hookup culture? That doesn't make sense. Those are two contradicting arguments. What you want is you want to be able to do what men do. You want to be able to sleep around. You want no shame attached. And then you want to be able to lock men up at will, essentially. Because the idea that a woman can have an experience that she regrets because it wasn't as good as she thought it would be, or the guy didn't stick around as long as she thought he should, and would use her ability to put him in prison as a power against him, kind of how some women use child support against men, kind of how some women use divorce against men. The idea that they would use the power to lock a man up is just alien. That doesn't exist. Not possible. And if you believe it's possible, you're a misogynist. If you believe that there's a portion of women on the planet that have bad intentions, you're a misogynist.
That she can't stand up. Boys need to understand that is
Well, that's a different line.
Now you're
That's a completely
bringing in
different line.
something else. Ava, I would like
Yeah.
to know whether you accept that women, and particularly teenage girls and young women, sometimes give out pretty mixed signals. They give out mixed messages. They're not even sure what they want at any given time.
I think we're victim blaming.
I don't think
I think
that's
we're- I
victim
think
blaming.
Come off
So
it,
do
Ava.
you
I think we are
accept?
straying into
do
Come
you-
off
point.
it. Every
you-
sinew of your body knows what she just said.
Do you
has a
accept
merit
women
to it.
can sometimes
It's a
give
woman
off
saying it
mixed
too. Come on.
messages? Come on, they
Look,
can.
I mean, sure, but
That's
I'm
a
not.
non-denial.
But I'm sure,
Yeah.
but I'm talking about assault.
So how are you
No, but
supposed
I
to?
don't think any of us disagree about assault. We're talking about the far greyer line of young teenage fumblings.
Yeah, exactly.
And if they've all stopped having sex, it's because they are actually terrified. And I
Yeah.
think it's a great shame if they're terrified into actually having no physical interaction with opposite
Exactly
sex.
that. And then the
How do
other
we get
point,
past
can I
that?
make one other point, which is this whole thing of dredging up allegations that are 10 or 20 years old, I think is absolutely awful.
Why?
Because it's a he said, she
Oh,
said. It's
Isabel,
impossible to
why?
prove. And there are people whose careers are, and their lives are completely
not a-
ruined by allegations that are brought a decade or more after the event. Now, obviously, if the person was a minor at the time of the incident, or the alleged incident,
I
then
can't believe you're
fine.
saying this,
There
that we
be
shouldn't
a
bring up historic assault claims.
I don't
That's
think-
absolutely
I don't think
crazy.
you should be bringing-
Women who
I
would have been
don't-
too afraid to confront it at the time because they
Why?
were too young or too
Right.
powerless
I
to
said
bring it up
about-
in
I
the
said
first
about
You
place.
see,
Youth-
I would actually side slightly with Ava here, in the sense that I don't have a problem with historic crimes. For example, Harvey Weinstein, they're all
There's gotta be a
historic.
cut-off
yeah, but,
point then,
yeah, but,
hasn't
well,
there?
has there
Should
actually?
be.
For someone
I
like
think there
Harvey,
has, because it
for someone like
depends
Harvey
on the
Weinstein,
evidence.
should there be a cut-off point, or should the victims who were all bullied and scared?
Well, it's going to be a
come
case-to-case
forward?
thing.
I think it depends on the severity of the
Yeah,
allegation.
I was about to
Obviously, if it's
say.
something, you know,
Right.
it's-
Yeah, I was about to say, like, there's a big difference between R. Kelly and, like, a kid in college putting his hand on a woman's knee or leg. There's a big difference. And it's like, if you want to do anything to try to solve, like, if you want to prove a point, I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to say here. If you want to prove a point, you have to use the extreme of every one. But the truth of the matter is, most of the stuff happens in the middle. And I would argue just by averages, much of the stuff that happens in the middle is more on the end of lower back touching than the R word. Like, I would just have to assume that.
rape case or something. But if it is a, you know, he put his
All right,
hand on my knee.
You're talking about the
you know.
journalist movement.
I'm
the
basically-
journalists that bravely came forward and told about how cabinet ministers had touched them inappropriately on the
them.
knee, which was horrendous.
I'm not
Yes.
bothered about touching on a knee. I mean, what, 20 years later?
Yes,
that
but
should,
she
someone should
exposed,
be
she
dragged
exposed
through the courts
entire
for that.
sexual harassment culture that is in Westminster and is still really
Did she just say touching her knee?
pervasive at the moment.
Well,
You know, he put his
All right,
hand
the
on my knee.
You're talking about the
you know.
journalist movement.
I'm
the
basically-
journalists that bravely came forward and told about how cabinet ministers had touched them inappropriately on
them.
the
Yeah.
knee, which was
I'm
horrendous.
not
Yes.
bothered about touching on a knee.
A touch on the knee? 20 years later, that a touch on the knee affect. I guess. Look, I'm not gonna act like that, because I guess if I was a woman, bro, I'm gonna just be completely honest. If I was a woman and I was 112 pounds, and there was a big dude, and I wanted a job, and he was huge, and he was powerful, and he put his hand on my knee, even if I was uncomfortable, I wouldn't say anything. And I think the inability to say something about it is what affects them more than the act. You know what I mean? The ability, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to be reasonable here. Like, if somebody does something against your will to you, it's gonna affect you, even if, like, you know what I mean? Like, that is going to affect you a little bit. Like, I'm trying to be reasonable here. And I guess I could kind of resonate with that. If you're, It would be more about the experience of having your power and your ability to say no taken away from you. But is there a percentage of women that are journalists that their career never went anywhere, so now they're trying to get it to flame back up, or they're trying to get some clout, and they're going to say that that happened just to be a part of the thing? I think to argue that that wouldn't happen is crazy. When you see all these high-profile cases and the guy starts off with one allegation, and then by the end of it, you have 76 women coming out. Okay, we get it. Let's not act like every single one of those women, like, it's still a guy that, there's a little balance to it. I get it.
20 years later,
Yes, but
someone should be dragged through the courts
entire
for that.
sexual harassment culture that is in Westminster and is still really pervasive at the moment.
Well, the good thing is we've all reached complete agreement after 5 years of the Me Too movement. But it's interesting, isn't it? So we've got lots of different views here. It is complicated, I think. And I would argue, but maybe a man shouldn't argue this at all, but I would argue the pendulum may have swung a little too far. You don't think it swung far enough. Mm-hmm. You probably are on my side. You probably are too. But I'm not sure we should really be taking...
Yo, is that a W or L self-reflection? With the women and the touching and the experience of having your power taken away? Is that a W or L take? Like, do you think that's what it's more about? Like, just no matter how small it is, the fact that you couldn't say no in that moment affected you for the rest of your life. I don't know, bro. I think I've had situations where, like, I guess not physically, though. I haven't had any physical situations where... No, I don't think I've had any physical situations like that. But hold on, 1 second. I actually, I stumbled upon this. I seen this yesterday. Let me see. It was Timcast. Let's see. Here it is.
The Guardian.
Studies show chemicals damaging testicles and making men soy boys.
Study links in utero forever chemical exposure to low sperm count and mobility. PFAS, now found in nearly all umbilical cord blood around the world, interfere with hormones crucial to testicle development. Could this be why there are so many soy boys? They say polyfluoroalkyl, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Substances are known to disrupt hormones and fetal development, and future reproductive capacity is largely defined as testicles develop in utero during the first trimester of a pregnancy, said study co-author Sandra Sogard Totenberg, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, of the Copenhagen University Hospital. Quote, "It makes sense that exposure to substances that mimic and interfere with hormones involved in this delicate process can have consequences for semen quality later in life." Yeah, but if you're talking about, mangling up somebody's boys while they're in the womb, isn't that going to impact a lot more than that? We got a lot of soy boys with low sperm counts. Could it be that these PFAS chemicals? I was talking about this because a lot of people, seem to have forgotten when Alex Jones came out and said they were turning the frogs gay.
Facts.
Talking about atrazine and endocrine disruptors. So I was saying it's also PCBs and phthalates. There's a bunch of studies showing that those things can mess with people's brains and development. Now we've got this story.
I'm trying to tell y'all, bro, it's in everything. It's in everything. All of that processed bullshit you eat, all of that go vegan shit, most vegan food is highly processed food. It's shit that they pull a lever and pump out of a factory. That's what it is. And they're selling it as health food, bro. In everything. In literally the elastics and nylons that keep your fucking boxers together, that keep your balls tucked in, they're getting rid of your sperm count in there. There's plastics in there that are going to affect you forever. It's crazy. And nobody's saying anything about this stuff. Nobody's even having this conversation. That's crazy. This is a crisis. This is a problem. And this is what happens when companies have so much power that they're willing to put chemicals in your food to be more profitable. I love capitalism. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But you have to understand the pros and cons of everything. And one of the cons of capitalism is that Companies can get so powerful that they can be more powerful than countries. And we're at that point now. So we got to be careful. We have to be more careful. We have to be careful about what they allow to do to us as these just social experiments just to make their product more profitable. There has to be some sort of regulation that makes sure you can't just poison people, even if they like your cheeseburgers. You can't just poison them. Because morally, it's still wrong. There's a line. We understand you want to make a little dough. But morally, it's wrong, bro. But some people don't have that. When you have a corporation, a company where you got 500 people working together and they all are incentivized to just make more money, people are gonna cheat. People are gonna do things that are a little immoral. Oh, it's not a big deal, just a little nylon here. It's gonna affect their testosterone a little bit. Then the fast food companies go, oh, just a little. It's not gonna affect them too much. Now you got two things against you. Next thing you know, boys are out here drinking goddamn soy caramel lattes and beating their meat every day, and they're unmotivated, and then the people who want to conquer the world can do it easier because there's no strong men to fight against them. It's just a bunch of women and children, and no matter how much we try to make women seem powerful, they're not going to be willing or able or capable to fight that war when it comes, and it's going to come.
This is from today on The Guardian. This new study saying that these chemicals, polyfluoroalkyl, is that how you pronounce it? I don't know, whatever.
I think so.
Is lowering sperm counts. And I got to imagine, the ubiquitous chemicals are estimated to be in 98% of Americans' blood. And they can cross the placental barrier and accumulate in the growing fetus. A recent analysis of 40 studies of umbilical cord blood from around the world found that PFAS were detected in all 30,000 samples. So someone what are these?
Every single sample had poison in it. Every single sample was making the men weaker. Out of 30,000 samples, every single one. Cancer. Poison. Getting rid of you. All for the sake of profit, bro. That's what I'm saying. Huge problem. That's not good. That's a huge problem. And then you want those people so that if somebody like me comes up and says this, you want those people to have the power to not only take away your social media. Fine. Private companies, blah, 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 say whatever you want to say. Why are you taking away my payment processors? Why are you taking away my bank account so I can no longer spend the money that I worked my life to make? At that point, it's just harassment. It has nothing to do with getting rid of somebody socially and getting rid of their dangerous message. At that point, it's just harassment. You're trying to make their life harder because you want them to stop. And nobody thinks it's a little weird that all of these companies are working in cahoots to do it. That's crazy, bro. What
is this chemical for, and why is it everywhere? Why has everybody got it?
Yeah, why not?
Well, they're called forever chemicals because they're impossible to get rid of.
Yes.
And they keep being persistent, and there's no natural way of them being filtered out or dealt with. This is why some people call them forever chemicals, and this is why some scientists have labeled them this.
I tried to look up the NIH's.gov.
Bro, chat, do push-ups, bro. Do push-ups. Go to the gym. Eat right. Challenge yourself. Yes, a burger tastes great. Trust me, I get it. It tastes amazing. But sometimes you got to eat the asparagus just because it's better for you. It's not always about what tastes the best. Challenge yourself, bro. Because these people, they want to take everything from you. They want to take everything from you. And if you don't have the discipline to avoid the traps, they're just going to be allowed to do it. Because obviously nobody else cares. So it's just you. It's just you.
Page on it, and it says it no longer exists. Are you getting that error?
Well, I got it here on Wikipedia. Per and polyfluoroalkyl substances. And it just explains what it is, but I'm wondering, like, why is it everywhere? What?
Well, a lot of people connect this to plastic.
Teflon.
Whoa!
Look at this.
Wow.
And non-stick chemicals.
This is
Teflon
crazy.
or aqueous film forming foam. So what are we scraping the Teflon off the pans and eating it or something?
Non-stick pans, and a lot of our packaging and a lot of our consumer goods, a lot of our clothing also is filled with a lot of chemicals that absolutely affect us. There's PFAs, there's microplastics, there's other endocrine disruptors, there's seed oils, there's people not getting any kind of sunlight, there's vitamin deficient diets. There's so many things you could point to when it comes to the destruction, the physical destruction of the modern man. And when I tweeted this story, I tweeted tweeted, "There's a secret chemical war for your balls. Your balls are losing." And when you look at the rates of testosterone, you look at the rates of sperm counts dramatically declining in dangerous levels, to the point where Jared Kushner's comments could be correct when he said we might live forever or we might be the last people to die because people aren't having children. People can't have children. Miscarriages are up dramatically as well. And this, to me, is a part of the larger depopulation agenda that is also plaguing the world right now.
I think, the mistake that Jared Kushner made when he said that he was, going to live forever or be the last to die, is that if there's one thing you want to avoid when you're hated by millennial leftists is Harry Potter references. And, Voldemort was like, only I can live forever. And so for Jared Kushner,
bro, look at these effects of low testosterone and tell me if this isn't a problem. Why are we acting like this isn't a problem? Sex drive, sperm count or sperm production, muscle mass, strength, fat distribution, bone density, red blood cell production, reduced desire for sex, fewer erections, infertility, increased body fat, decreased strength, mass, muscles, fragile bones, decreased body hair, swelling, tenderness, hot flashes, increased fatigue. Meaning you just want to sit down and sit on the couch, and when somebody gets up and tells you to challenge yourself, you refuse to do it. That's what intense fatigue means. Life is already hard enough to get up. Imagine if it's now harder because you have low testosterone. Effects on testosterone or effects on cholesterol and metabolism, sleep disturbances. Like, this stuff affects you in every single way because now if you can't go to sleep as well, now your testosterone drops even lower. Now you're less motivated. This is what's happening to young boys, and you see young boys ending themselves in record numbers, and nobody's addressing the problem because it would take holding companies accountable for putting toxins in your shit. That's what it would require, and nobody wants to have that conversation. Huge part of the reason we're in a bad spot, by the way.
It's like, dude, they're already calling Trump Voldemort. You don't need to help them out with the only cultural reference they have.
Right.
I've been thinking about these PFAs, like we're talking about perfluoroalkyl, and like I microwave plastic. I probably should stop doing it completely, but I have like these single wraplet bacons, and I put it in the microwave for 10 seconds and then eat it, and it's like just the plastic is like rubberized when I pull it out.
Just eat the plastic. Just chomp
take
right
it all.
out.
People are finding plastic in people's lungs, in people's blood. That's how far plastics have impacted humanity. That's a level that is not normal. That is not okay. That is affecting our human bodies in very negative ways.
Out of all, do y'all remember a time in the world, in the country especially, where everything was made out of metal and glass? And potentially it was because plastic was seen to be a problem, and it had some problems on nature. It had some problems with never being able to be taken out of the water. It had some problems with being processed in the human body. But all that seemed to be ignored. Nothing weird about that. All of that is ignored, and companies are now making more money than ever as a result of not having to make their products out of plastic or out of glass and metal.
All the chemicals, I didn't hear anybody mention bisphenol A, and BPA was the first thing to wake me up via Alex Jones when I was working with him in 2009, I think. And I remember my girlfriend at the time. We were sitting there talking, and I brought it up, and I said, this stuff is in our plastics, it's leaching, it's in a lot of our canned goods. And she goes, Jason, I can't. No, Jason, they're not feminizing people. They would never do that. And
yes, they are.
You wonder to yourself, is this part of a larger program to utilize these chemicals in everyday products to really change humanity?
No, I think it's more likely that a company, when plastics were first developed, you got to understand, go to these antique shops.
See, I don't even necessarily look. Even if there wasn't a bigger agenda, even if you didn't want to believe, go all conspiracy and go, oh, there's just people at the top that, want to bring a new world order, blah, blah, blah. Even though we have the Great Reset, we know that's kind of a thing already. Let's ignore that, just for the sake of this argument. Even if it wasn't about controlling humanity, it's the fact that they're willing to poison you for profit. That's the problem then. If you're not poisoning us with a grand scheme to run everything and make it a utopia or whatever you're trying to do, even though it's going to fail, whatever you're trying to do, then you're doing it for profit. There's only two ways it can go. And either way is a problem because it's still being done. And that person, a person that wants to change the world to that degree is crazy motivated, and a person that wants to make profit is also crazy motivated. So you got to find a way to deal with that. Or they're going to we got people sucking on dollar chemicals from China wrapped up in a vape. Dollar chemicals from China wrapped up in a vape owned by the same companies that we kind of got rid of when we started to do the whole no tobacco thing. But this time they got the kids. Holy fucking smokes. It's crazy, bro. That's crazy. That's crazy, bro. This time they got the kids. So addicted to them damn vapes, they can't even, it's damn near glued to their hand. All day, you just pause. All day, pause. Why are you even putting your hand up there like that to your mouth too many times in one day? Pause, bro.
Everything's metal and glass. It's really crazy to see a can of juice. You know, it's like a big can, like an oil can. It's like, wow, now everything is plastic these days. It's a lot cheaper. It's a lot easier to mold. And then all of a sudden they started saying like, hey, maybe this is really, really bad. And you get these bottled water companies and they're sitting there going, so what are you telling me? Well, the phthalates in the plastic are leaching into the water because it's sitting for too long. And you got biphenyls and polyphenols. People are ingesting it and it's causing problems with their endocrine system and their kids. Okay, so what do? You got to get rid of the plastic. Yo, that's going to cost us billions of dollars.
Exactly.
That the company would cease to exist.
Exactly.
How much to make the study go away?
Bingo.
What I think is more likely is that there's too much
that's part of what I
developed
believe
in the economy into using plastics. Nobody's going to want to go back to using metal everything.
But the biggest problem is even if you do things for profit, the end result is that you want a monopoly. You want to be able to control everything. Even if your motive is to be profit driven, the end of that pyramid ends with you having total control. Or that's the final. If you want to bring in the most profit, you're going to need to be in the most locations. You're going to need to be in the most industries like Amazon, where you're doing everything. You have to be, and you have to, if you want to be the most profitable and your biggest goal is to just conquer, financially, that's the best way to do it. You have to keep going until you have complete control. That's the biggest problem. Even if you're just driven by profit, to some degree, you're kind of driven by control because you have to control your industry. The more control you have over your industry, the more money you're going to make.
It's too heavy. Plastic's super light. That's why you need graphene, because it's lightweight.
Carbon.
It's the only way forward is to get away from plastics is to go into graphene, I think.
It'd be funny if
the best way.
If all of it, like we discover in like 70 years, graphene leaches into your water and then people are drinking it.
Well, at least it's pure
graphene
carbon.
is the next lead.
Well, it's carbon. It's not lead. It's not plastics are carbon based too, but it's just pure carbon. So hopefully it's not as bad.
Yeah,
everything's got a downside to it. I think that
plastics are crazy.
I've heard, and I don't know if you guys can confirm this, that all the fluoride that has been, maybe not all, but fluoride being put in the water was partly industrial waste. They didn't know what to do with the industrial fluoride waste, so they just put it in the water.
It's the aluminum
That's
waste.
interesting.
Conspiracy theory.
Aluminum waste.
It's the aluminum waste because there's different types of fluoride. So you have stanzid fluoride, and then you actually have calcium fluoride, which is natural and has very different properties. So you can drink water that has calcium fluoride in it, and it's not going to give you the same effects as the aluminum byproduct that you're talking about, which is stanzid fluoride.
So maybe those were conflated in what I'd read. I don't know. Maybe they're putting the calcium fluoride in the water.
Well, no, I believe that the calcium is only there naturally, and that I remember. Okay, so we'll go back to Infowars. I remember when Rob Dew went to the Austin water plant, and the bags of the fluorides have the death's head on them, and anybody can go watch those videos. But it says, look, this isn't a concentrated form. This is extremely deadly. I'm not sure that we would want to put that in water, even in diluted form, would we? But somehow we're doing that.
It's the most electrically elastic chemical element, fluorine, and that means it's the most likely to take an electron away from something else, causing free radical damage.
Well, also, it's important to note here that a lot of the hormones, a lot of the prescription drugs that a lot of people are on, especially when it comes to things like birth control, those never really get filtered out. There's no way of kind of getting rid of those chemicals. And a lot of times public drinking water.
I talked about that yesterday. 2 days ago when I went live and did the Andrew Taper's Piers thing. Nobody talks about that factor either. Hormonal birth control cannot be taken out of the water source. Impossible. So all of the hormonal birth control that's ever been put in women that's now in the water, which is a continuing growing thing, the more estrogen or more of that estrogen is in the water now than ever before, and is going to continue to be poured in there. Nobody's paying attention to that fact. That affects men's testosterone. Boys' balls get smaller. They get less motivated. They don't want to go outside. They're more addicted to nasty videos. This is all a part of it, bro. We got to get big. We got to get big, bro. No more weakness. We got to get big. We got to get big. Bro, we gotta challenge. We gotta keep going. We gotta challenge ourselves. We gotta challenge ourselves.
To have substances that are from big pharma that were never filtered out, that do have an effect on human beings. And I think that also plays into the bigger role of what's happening here when it comes to the chemical castration of the modern man that is being chemically engineered to be the way that the men are. And I think it's only going to get worse from here.
I want to clarify, fluorine is the most electronegative element. I think electronegativity is a type of electroelasticity, meaning that but electronegativity means it's most likely to snag an electron away from something and cause molecular breakdown.
Take a look at this graphic. The effects of PFAs. It includes low birth weight, obesity, early puberty onset. This is in babies.
Jesus.
Pregnancy-induced hypertension, preeclampsia, increased time to pregnancy, low sperm count and mobility,
Jesus.
Increased miscarriage risk, and it negatively impacts everybody else as well. Wikipedia's got a study up here. This is actually an older study from last year, February 2021. Hormone disrupting chemicals, including PFAs, are linked with rapid declines in human fertility. There you go, baby.
And they call them forever chemicals, these PFAs, because and technically not forever, but...
Isn't margarine plastic?
I don't know. I stopped eating it. I heard horrible things about it.
Yeah, it is horrible.
Margarine ingredients.
That's crazy, bro.
Is it true that margarine is almost plastic?
Might be almost.
Is this video stale?
It is not. It's a misinterpretation. Is that what it is?
Is this video stale?
Chemically speaking.
L video, W video in the chat. Is this video stale now? Should we go to another video or what's going on? What do y'all think? Do y'all get it? Pretty much stay away from every single thing in the planet. Stay away from everything on the planet because everybody that's there for profit are trying to poison you. So that's kind of it. Do y'all think this is stale? W video? L video? Next. Yeah, I'm feeling it too. I get it. I think it is a show, so they got to keep it going. But let's see if we can find something else. Let's go. What was that girl? What was the girl that did Courtney? I think Courtney Ryan or something like that. She did the video on sexless men, like getting women's opinion on sexless men or something like that. Or the rise of lonely men or something. Let's see.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Courtney Ryan, and today we're going to be talking about the rise of lonely single men and the rise of sexless men. But instead of just me talking about it, since I've already covered this pretty in-depth on my channel, I wanted to bring other girls on and get...
Do y'all want me to speed it up? Do y'all like watching sped up? Because I don't mind it. Well, I actually prefer it because it makes it quicker. What do y'all think? Sped up or just regular speed? 1 in the chat for sped up, 2 in the chat for regular speed. All right, great.
their opinion, what they think's going on, if they think women play any...
If you're not used to it, you get used to it pretty quickly. If you're not, so don't worry about it. It'll
type
come.
of role in this. So I'm sitting down with 7 girls today, and we're going to be talking all about it. Let's get into it. So studies are showing that there's a decrease in men having sex. So 1/3 of men under the age of 30 are sexless, and there's also
No. She's going crazy. Yeah. She's She's spitting right now. She's spitting right now. I bit off more than I could chew. I underestimated her. You know those low energy people that just talk like fucking, like, just their sleep all the time. They're usually from California. I don't know, because they exist too in like Tennessee. They're just like, the elevator doesn't go up to the top floor. The ball, like, you're knocking, the lights are on, nobody's really home though. And those people, I thought she was going to talk like one of those people.
If they think women play any type of role in this. So I'm sitting down with 7 girls today, and we're going to be talking all about it. Let's get into it. So studies are showing that there's a decrease in men having sex. So 1/3 of men under the age of 30 are sexless, and there's also a rise in lonely single men. If you had to guess, why do you think this is the case?
I think dating is a lot different than it was back then, especially with social media and everything.
Oh, my bad. That was bad.
That's going on. I think men also these days too are sometimes more afraid to talk to women than they used to, I guess.
I'm gonna go back a little bit, chat. My bad. That's on me.
Single men. If you had to guess, why do you think this is the case?
I think dating is a lot different than it was back then, especially with social media and everything that's going on. I think men also these days too are sometimes more afraid to talk to women than they used to.
Yeah, because talking to women is a crime. If you don't say exactly what they want to hear, if you don't tell them everything that they want to hear, it's a crime at this point. But unfortunately, the guys that are the most successful with women, well, in terms of, boys are being told not to do that, essentially. They're being told that anything that's masculine, that anything is forward, anything that is disagreeable, anything that has a masculine trait is deemed as bad. Some of them just kind of ignore that message and they do whatever the fuck they want anyway. And those are the guys that are probably going to separate and rise more to the top, at least in success with women. But majority of men, because they actually care about women, and when they're told that what's going to better their chances of getting with women is to be nice to them and to tell them they're perfect and beautiful all the time, then that's what they're going to do. That's how men operate. We do what women want for procreation. That's kind of what it is. But it turns out the guys who don't necessarily do everything that a woman wants, but has his own plan and allows a woman to get with his program if she wants to, they tend to be the ones that are better with women.
But I don't know. I was just talking to a friend about this. I think just dating in general has completely shifted. It's harder now. It's a lot harder to have genuine connections or even people you want to hook up with, like with Tinder and Bumble and all that stuff. So that would be my answer.
I really think it's because women stopped caring about douchebags. I know that's not the best word to use, but guys that don't put in effort and don't care and don't want to actually value women for who they are gonna be lonely, because women are becoming a lot more independent and they're becoming a lot more confident in being themselves, that they don't need no man. So I find that rise probably comes from those guys that don't want to put in that extra effort and actually put their pride aside and make a woman feel loved. Women for who they are gonna be lonely, because women are becoming a lot more independent and they're becoming a lot more confident in being themselves, that they don't need no man. So I find that rise probably comes from those guys that don't want to put in that extra effort and actually put their pride aside and make a woman feel loved.
Just the disingenuousness to just be like, those are the guys that we like, but unfortunately, they don't want to commit to us because we don't understand really how to keep those guys around anymore, because we've been told that just looking pretty is enough. We've been told that we've been special for no reason, so we feel like when it comes to a man that we actually want, we don't want to put forth the effort, so it always falls apart. And we're kind of bitter about that, so we blame all men. Because let's just be honest, you ain't talking to the guy that's in your DM. Every single woman on this panel, if they wanted to be in a relationship with the man, they could be. The problem is they can't get the man that they want. Because that man has too many options now. Because women are just allowed to all sleep with people. If we still lived in a society where 40% of women only had one partner, which is the person they're married to, or no partners, those men would have fewer women that they could sleep with. And that's why women held other women accountable socially, because they understood if every woman is allowed to just sleep with whoever they want, their husbands who have that opportunity is going to be able to do it easier. It affects everybody because I see women, like I've had conversations with women that are like, I'm a virgin. I don't want to give it up before marriage, but I want a guy that's blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that dude has slept with so many women that if I'm just completely honest with you, it's going to be very hard for him to wait for you for marriage. Because he's so used to getting the cow he's so used to getting the milk without the cow. And women created that condition.
I feel like a lot of it might have to do with maybe like working remote since we're all.
Let me. Is that a W or L take? Am I just being like very one-sided? Am I being super biased? Because I like to be self-reflective. Like I like to understand when like I'm in the wrong. She has that kind of ego. This lady is definitely like. I don't want y'all to just gas me up though. I don't want y'all to just gas me up. Like is that me being like fair? Like, sure, yeah. Like, it's not good for men to have the ability to just sleep with women and dump them and treat them like douchebags. But when all of the women want a small minority of the men, they have the ability to do that. Like, that's just how it works. That's why women are the fairer sex. That's why as a woman, you're supposed to date a guy that not, like dating up and across or across and up, that doesn't have to be looks. I don't think people meant looks when they did that. That's why fathers were involved in selecting who you were going to be with as a woman, because he wasn't going to judge based on looks. He was going to judge based on a little bit of looks. Of course, he wants them to look decent. That he is going to have grandchildren. He's going to have to look at them. He wants the kids to be decent looking. But also, what does this man have to offer you? But now that doesn't exist anymore. So any guy that just looks good gets to sleep with any woman that he wants. Essentially. So you have such a high percentage of women going after the top few men, and those guys just are less likely to commit. Sorry. Especially now that they have so many options. And I'm married, and I'll be complaining, I'll be talking about this shit, but this shit makes it cheese for me. I have a vested interest in promoting this message. For $5 million Coca-Cola, I will sell out. I'll sell out. $5 million Coca-Cola hit me up. I'll sell out. I'll sell out. Because this, in all honesty, bro, I be talking about this stuff, but I'm not going to lie to y'all, bro. I'm in a good spot. I'm married. I enjoy my life. It's great. Like, I enjoy myself. I push myself every single day. I just got back from the gym. I was lifting Big Shirley. Like, I pushed myself, bro. So I'm in a good spot. I'm not going to lie. And so when I'm talking about just the common man's experience, it isn't even me just like, let me please. I'm just mad at women because I couldn't. This stuff benefits me. Telling all women to go sleep with men who make more money and have more influence and have more blah, blah, blah things, whatever, that's going to benefit me. But it's not about that, bro. It's about having people be happy and being in families. Because she's talking about men are miserable. But if you look at the fastest growing demographic of people on antidepressants, you'll see an anti-anxiety medication. You'll see that the fastest growing population and the largest population is women. Well, white women to be specific, from age 45 to 50. Or 40 to 50, I'm sorry. From age 40 to 50, that's the fastest growing demographic of people on antidepressants, white women. The second fastest growing demographic is black women. And I would argue the only reason why black women aren't higher on that list is because if you don't have as much financially, it's a little bit harder to care about mental health. It's a little bit harder to afford antidepressants and all the things that it takes. But that's the fastest growing population of people that are miserable in the world. It's easy to say you're happy when you're popping antidepressants like M&Ms. So they're making people miserable, and then they're selling you the thing to fix your problem. So, quote unquote. Because it never really fixes your problem. It just creates other problems. Eating McDonald's never really solves your hunger. Well, it does solve your hunger, but then it gives you... I don't want to get sued by McDonald's. But just like any fast food corporation is what I'm saying. Not specifically McDonald's.
Women feel loved.
I feel like a lot of it might have to do with maybe like working remote since we're all so I feel like I'm at home a lot more than like I ever was before, and like since I work remote personally, like not going out and meeting as many people like through like work friends or like going out as much, I feel like people just aren't interacting as much as like they used to be on the day-to-day, like physically. People are just like messaging on Snapchat and Instagram.
Yeah, people aren't interacting anymore because everybody has to work now. Now, instead of having a life partner who can go and help you take care of the things at home, now, I'm not even gonna say life partner. I fucking hate that word. That's disgusting. L in the chat, life partner. That's disgusting. But instead of having a person that you do life with that helps you throughout everything, so he could go work while you stay at home and do something else, or you part-time work, because women have worked all throughout human history, so maybe you do have a little part-time gig, whatever it may take, so that y'all can get by. Instead of having that so y'all have more time, now you go full pants in the Banana Republic and you have to come home and cook. That's the only difference. Now you go slang caramel macchiatos and you got to come home and cook. That's the only difference. But they tricked you into thinking that, they've tricked people into thinking that being alone and being quote unquote independent is so much more important because it shows that you're valuable. I think that's what they tricked women into believing.
So less like in-person human interaction, and everything's kind of moving towards being online.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then I also feel like women are just being more selective over like how they want to be treated, and how with social media, I feel like it's so easy to compare like what other relationships, like what they're doing, like what kind of experiences like a couple's going through, like, oh, they're on this nice like luxurious vacation, and like this man doesn't want to like take me on that, so like screw him or something in a way.
So first and foremost, I would say pornography has something to do with it, just because it's so easily accessible that men don't really have to like put in the effort to go out and seek a mate when they...
I agree, but part of that is women deciding to sexualize themselves on social media, and I know that's a hot take. I don't know what you're supposed to do about that problem, because every woman has the right to do whatever they want to do, of course, but it certainly doesn't help when men aren't allowed to build genuine connections with women because everything is considered SA, or, you know, just people are so distant, and women are taught and young girls are taught that they're so much better than young boys that they shouldn't even interact with them damn near, unless the guy's the captain of the football team. Like, I think all of that affects the fact that young boys are being addicted to Lana Rhodes, if you get what I'm saying. I think it's a multifaceted problem. I don't think it's just young boys lacking the discipline. I think it's also young boys having the access, because when you give beings, animals, whatever it may be, the ability to access pleasure without having to work for it, they choose to do it. You put a little thing in a rat's cage that allows them to get a little bit of dopamine hit, it's going to be hitting that thing all day. It's natural for you to lean towards the easy side of the things that make you happy in life. But you have to be taught that you can't just take the easy way. You have to do it the hard way sometimes, because doing the hard way builds character and it builds discipline. So it's like there's a lot of components that's missing. I think it's a multifaceted problem, a huge multifaceted problem. But nobody's even willing to address it, because to address it, we'd have to really... There ain't very many 13-year-old boys that's going to be able to control that urge. And I know that's crazy to hear, but there ain't going to be too many 13, 14, 15-year-old boys. So you have to be able to access or you have to be able to change their access to it. But the thing is, I'm all for freedom too. So it's like there's a problem on both sides, and we just have to find a happy medium. Because I don't think just letting corporations, letting TikTok influence your kids into watching twerk videos all day is a good thing. And I don't necessarily think that limiting access to, well, I guess, I don't know, man. Y'all, I don't know. How would you even be able to solve that problem? You wouldn't really be able to do it unless you took more liberties away, I guess. I don't know.
They can just like do it at the comfort of their space.
I guess you could try to solve it socially. You could literally teach boys to shame other boys. And I think that's kind of what the Manosphere is doing. Men have to keep shaming other men. You need a little shame. You need a little pick-me-up every now and then. Men gotta be able to shame other men. Because if you're doing something that ain't good for you, I gotta be able to tell you that ain't good, and you're gonna feel shameful. That's how it works. When you know you did something wrong, you know you did something you shouldn't have done, you feel a little bit of shame. Men gotta keep shaming men. Men gotta keep shaming each other. That's the only way you're gonna get that out of society. If you make it taboo, if you make it so that you're considered lesser than, I guess. And I know that sounds bad, but you're considered, that's shame, bro. Unless you make it socially unacceptable for boys to watch porn and other men have to hold that standard, then I don't think it's going to be able to change without taking people's liberty.
I would say another reason is just the work and personal life balance. People are obviously too ambitious now, which is a great thing, but to like keep up with the economy and the demanding lifestyle, it's kind of hard to maintain a nice work and personal life balance, and men don't really see the worth in going out to find a potential mate. They would just rather spend that energy on working towards their goal.
No, all of their potential mates think they're better than them. It's not that they don't want to go out and do it. It's that many of them don't know how to do it because all the ways they are told how to do it are called misogynistic. And they don't want to be misogynistic. Men don't want to hurt women. We want to give women what they want. That's what we have a nature to do. So those boys, they go out there into the world, 18, 19, 20 years old. You're trying to be with this girl, but she has eyes for the guy that's at the top. And she thinks that because she can sleep with him, that she can actually obtain this guy. So you never get a chance. And because she's had guys like him in the past, it's now harder for you to compete because she's already experienced them. And now she wants them again.
Goals and ambitions. So just like a busy working life. But also, you can't just be there's a population of guys that are just complete incels too. That exists. And it's a growing population. There are some guys that would rather sit here and blame women than work on themselves, and those people do exist. I see them in the comments of my videos. I think it's very weird because that's not going to help you at the end of the day. It doesn't do anything for you. So the best thing you could do is just go out there, be competitive, learn, don't complain about use the red pill stuff as a defense. Use the red pill stuff as a defense instead of an offense, right? So just understand that there are people like that out there that exist that will take advantage of you. Understand that, yes, marriage isn't 100% fair right now, but if you want to do it, I think it's worth it. Me personally, others will say it isn't. But just you got to understand, okay, women like this, don't let that affect me emotionally. How can I be more like the men that women like? Don't get upset and just go and sit in a corner and cry. I want to go look up mediocre tutorials and reviews. Because you're just crying. You're just sad. Because you don't want to work on yourself. You can't do that. Because that's going to put you in the same category as the people we like to talk about. The moment you stop self-reflecting and the moment you start giving up and not competing, that's when you completely lose. You got to continue to compete. Because when you ain't, I am. Best believe that. I'm trying to get better in every avenue of my life if possible. That's all I'm doing. I'm on a complete journey, on a complete mission to become the best competitor I can be. Because I think that that's the funnest thing in life. I think competing takes you to the next level in life. I think that that's the only way to get there. Even if that competition is just with yourself. It doesn't have to be cutthroat. It doesn't have to be brutal. It doesn't have to be unfair. For some reason, some people think that competition is always unfair. Certain people have advantages, some people have disadvantages, but it's not necessarily unfair. Yeah, it kind of is, I guess. That would kind of be unfair. But at the end of the day, there are always going to be people that are better than other people at certain things. Everybody has to find out what they're good at because everybody is good at something. I truly believe that. But you just have to figure it out.
Incels? Reddit? 4chan? I think it's largely a them problem, would be my guess.
I think, I don't know, I feel like post-pandemic, people don't like interact with each other as much. This is kind of off topic, but like when I used to walk down the street, I would always be like, oh my God, you're so pretty, or like hello to people, you know, and just like talk to people. And I feel like now that's not really happening.
Absolutely.
I think people are more drawn into themselves. And I don't know why it's still like that. I think the internet too, obviously there's a community for this. I feel like people are kind of getting more hateful. I don't know. It's just things are changing. I think people need to open up more.
Yeah.
If it's a choice, that's fine. I don't think everyone needs to have a super high sex drive. I personally don't have a super high sex drive, so if someone's not super sexually active, does not matter to me at all.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
But
I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna tell you right now. There's not a man on God's green earth. There's not a man on God's green earth that is an incel, literally choosing to not pursue women anymore, that hasn't given up on competition. I'm willing to make that bet. W or L taking the chat. I'm actually interested to see what y'all are saying. Can y'all hear me? The video's on pause.
You think that
I should be able to hear it. W or L taking the chat. Yeah. Okay. I thought I was tripping for a second.
in this as well? I mean, because there are a lot of single women too.
Yeah. I don't think it's all men to blame. I just think people are not as good with interacting with each other these days, and
Is the video
they'll go on.
Is the video still low? Can you hear the video? Is the video still low? L stream, L stream, L stream. Oh, so it's okay. If a bunch of people are having that problem, let's see.
I don't think it's all men to blame. I just think people are not as good with interacting with each other these days, and
okay, it's
they'll
good.
go
Okay,
on
okay,
Tinder
okay.
or something, you
Okay,
know, to
good.
look for a hookup. But that's so much different and harder to connect with people than like back when you would just meet someone. Which I'm not saying you have to just go meet someone on the street, especially because now with the media and stuff, you're scared to meet people in person, like just some guy next to you. You don't want to go home with them because they could be a serial killer. And this
They've
and
told you that
But
they're
yeah, I
all
just
the
think
R word.
as a society.
They've told women that all of the men that are there to really protect them and actually care for them are R words. They commit the R word. They're bad people. They're misogynists. They're all bad. You should hate them all. That's why. I'm trying to tell you, when you convince women that men are bad, they feel like they don't have to listen to anything men have to say. But the only problem is men give women guidance. That's just the truth. Men give women guidance. There's a lot of things that a woman just will not understand unless she's under the guidance of a man. It's just the truth. Or has been under the guidance of a man. There's just certain things about reality because women are created to be so optimistic and just so just in the clouds. Like they're not built to just be concerned all day. So that when it comes, they just have to ignore it. I don't.
Harder
I'm
to
losing
date
it.
probably right now. If a guy is sexless, though, I don't feel like they should feel bad about it. I think that pressure also really kills things in the mood for guys, like when you're so worried about it and feeling maybe emasculated or something like that. That can be really tough, but yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I think a woman, kind of like myself, that is independent, hardworking, and knows what she wants.
Oh my God.
Not necessarily
Disgusting.
plays a game, but keeps her options open and wants to find somebody that truly values her. So
Isn't that so fun? Isn't that fun? Playing your options, using your options. It's crazy because the same women who say that they get to use their options, even though they haven't even earned the ability to sleep with other people or the things that they could get just out of just being the fact that they're a woman, even though they haven't even earned that. They think that when a man gets to the point, after they've ignored all of them, they've ignored them the whole time because, let's just be honest, every woman has options. Whether she likes those options is her or not. That's up to her. Whether she likes those options or not are up to her, but every woman has options. But they want the men that had to work throughout all of their 20s, getting rejected, having to go trial and error, trying to get better, going to work every single day, trying to work out, trying to be healthy, practicing the discipline necessary to be fit, financially literate. They want them guys to just go, oh, I'm just going to get married now. So what we understood before was that there's this very vulnerable time where women can use their fertility and their youth to their advantage to lock down the best guy. That's what we understood. That's why other women pressured women to get pregnant, get together and be married and get pregnant early. Because they understood that very wealthy, very well put together men are going to want youth, beauty, and fertility. They understood that. So they pressured you. When you was at 19, you had all this value and you wanted to go and just splurge and just sleep with this guy and sleep with this guy, sleep with this. They told you don't do that. Number one, because it's dangerous, you can get pregnant. And number two, because this is your chance to get the best guy that's going to be there for you financially in the long term and have the best, just the best guy overall. The best guy morally, the best guy that has the money, all of the above. They understood that was the time to do it. Now that just doesn't exist anymore. Now women are just told to, while you got your power, don't do it to lock down a man who's going to have power in the future. Just go and explore your options. And this shit is going to be fun while she's 25, 26, because let's just be completely honest. Most people in the chat ain't going to turn her down. Yeah, most guys ain't in the chat ain't going to turn her down. You ain't. I just reckon you ain't. But when she gets to the age where guys aren't going to see her anymore, that's when it's going to hit. And that's why women in between the age of 40 and 50 are the ones most on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications. Because they've been told that if they can, they've been convinced that if they go out and work for a company, the material bullshit is going to be enough to replace the fulfillment of having family. They've been convinced that.
I definitely think women do play a factor in it because they could be on some games.
Oh, I feel like it really is your preference. Like if a height's a total deal breaker, then, and you're not going to be comfortable like with somebody that's shorter than you, then you shouldn't go after that, But I think like it definitely is valid for whatever is like holding someone back from being in a relationship with somebody. I think
you have to weigh the balance, bro. You have to decide what's important. And before women understood what was important, they told you that a man's principles, a man's ability to go out there and work was important. Now women think the most important thing is how tall a man is or how good he looks. And that's where you fail. Because sure, you're more selective, but you're more selective about the wrong things. If I want a wide receiver for my football team, I can be very selective and want a wide receiver that can throw the ball. But I'm being selective about the wrong thing. Why wouldn't I want to judge a receiver off his ability to catch a pass? Why wouldn't I want to judge a man based on his ability to be moral, to be competent, to work hard? Not just because he's attractive. So it's about what you look for. And this idea that it's just, if you don't want that, then don't get that because I get it though, because you can't force a person to want something that they don't want. I understand that. And that's like where you got to understand the human nature though. And that's why I think it's important for women to understand these concepts, because when they understand how they behave naturally, they can choose to operate in a way that's civil. When you don't understand how you work naturally, it's hard to differentiate between the things that are more primal and the things that are more higher level. Because I think there are two ways that people think. And I think that even in the concept of religion, it's kind of God versus the devil. God is choosing to be righteous. God is choosing that even though you want to be envious, you get inspired. That even though you want to eat pizza all day, you choose not to and you go and be better. Being closer to God is kind of that concept, cross-culturally, cross-religion. But being closer to the devil always seems to be more primal. Lust, envy, pride, all of the things that you just instinctually want to do. So I think those stories were put into place to tell us how to behave. Never behave in a way that's too primal because it takes over your life. Always try to take the high road if you can. Obviously, you're going to slip. Everybody stumbles. That's kind of what a lot of the stories were. People trying to fight that primal brain, but then fucking up and falling from grace, because that happens. But I think that's what it was, bro. I think that we have to understand where we are naturally and what we want to do naturally in our natural urges and choose to be better. That's what makes us human, is the ability to choose to not be an animal.
Definitely like valid reasons.
But you got to understand the
Personally,
animal's
have
there.
lower standards than if you would go back in time and look at how high the expectations were from men to provide for women and take care of women. I feel like feminism has brought women to a point where they're able to take care of themselves. So maybe it has something to do with women being self-sufficient and not needing a man in their life to provide for them, and therefore not having the need to have sexual relationships with men.
Not having the need to be responsible. Not having the need to be with the man so that you can have children and have a stable family. That's what it is. Because it's not, being with the man isn't just about depending on him. Number one, women respect men that are above them. Women respect men that make more than them. Women respect men that have more power in the relationship, generally speaking, than them. So you're going to want a guy like that.
Has brought women to a point where they're able to take care of themselves. So maybe it has some.
But the biggest problem is women don't want to continue to do what they're supposed to do because responsibility is tough for women. If I'm just completely honest. Responsibility is tough for women. And that's why there were social structures that made women be responsible. And I think personally, like, you'll see a lot of women, like, I don't want to go down that road, but like, you'll see a lot of women talking about like they don't want to have kids. But I personally think that it's the women's responsibility to humanity. I think that building and maintaining civilizations and being efficient and productive and willing to die to build and protect that society for mostly the benefit of women and men, or children, women and children. I think that's the man's responsibility. But I think the responsibility for women is to choose the next generation of society builders. And a lot of women would rather make money themselves and sip margaritas on the beach than be responsible and have children. Now, I'm not saying you have to. I get it if people don't want to, but that's where the problem comes in, because you can't force people to do things. But there are definitely ways to govern your life that's better for humanity than others. And we have to be honest about that. I'm not forcing you to do it, but you have to be responsible. You don't have to have kids. I'm not saying women should be forced or anything like that for people that are going to take it out of context. I'm just saying that there's definitely a certain responsibility that comes with it. Everybody before you for thousands of generations have procreated, and you mean to tell me that you can't because you would rather sip margaritas on the beach? That's where the materialist bullshit comes into play. People have been convinced that they're going to find more happiness by sitting on a beach than they will having a family. It's crazy.
Something to do with women being self-sufficient and not needing a man in their life to provide for them, and therefore not having the need to have sexual relationships with men. So I think it's definitely just
y'all have an echo?
A progressive society and not having the need to rely on men for anything.
Yeah, I think there's unrealistic standards going around, and I think it's partially because of social media, and it's so easy to get caught up on social media when really, like, who knows what percent of actual social media is real. Like, you could see someone that you know or someone that you don't even know, you just follow on social media, you know, her man that she's with flies her out, buys her this gift, but maybe he bought her that gift because she caught him cheating. Like, you just really can't compare, but it's really hard not
That's
to
what women do, bro.
not to focus
I'm
in
trying
on
to
somebody
tell
else's
you.
life or so.
You say, you compare the two. That's why as a man you got to be more competitive than ever before. And I know that's a harsh reality because it sucks, but it's the truth. You have to be more competitive than ever before, because now you're not only being compared to the guys in your small community, you're being compared to every guy on the planet. And you know, that's that's not necessarily all women that are gonna not be able to differentiate between entertainment and bullshit and reality, which some women just, I mean, just like some men can't. Some people just can't differentiate between entertainment and reality. They listen to too many songs about people shooting each other. They think, hey, I'm going to pick up a gun and go shoot somebody. Just because they're just easily influenced. And you need that population of people because they're the ones that can be led. If you don't have a bunch of people that can be influenced, you don't have a bunch of people that can be led. So you need some portion of people to be easily influenced. So those people exist. And you got to be careful when they're women because they're going to compare you to every guy on the planet, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to stay happy, for her to stay happy in a relationship where she gets to see some other girl on a yacht every day.
Social media and compare it to your own.
Yeah, I'm probably. I mean, there's probably something that women as a whole, not everybody, but generally do that is discouraging for certain people.
Yes, you said men are like more afraid to approach women. Obviously men play a role in that, but do you think women play a role in the kind of issues that are arising with dating as well?
Yes, but see, I was raised, my parents have like, you know, always said, you know, you should let the men approach you, or the men should make the first move. And that's just how I was kind of raised. And I know a lot of people, I'm not saying that's for everybody, because a lot of times girls make the first move, and I'm like, that's freaking awesome. But just for me personally, it's not comfortable for me. So, yeah, I hope that answered.
But do you think, like, a lot of women will get mad when men approach them? They're like, I don't want to be approached. Like, that kind of phenomenon? Like, men are genuinely afraid because of what women, like, post online about them? Like,
yes, I think that's a huge thing. That's a very big thing. I've actually even, some of my guy friends have been afraid to approach ladies.
Yes.
Because of that situation.
Yes,
They're
it
afraid
affects
that
guys.
Women are going to label them as a pig or something like that. I find it flattering if a man approaches me, and just the fact that he had the confidence to do so. So, but yeah.
what do you think that men can do to make themselves a better candidate in the dating market?
I think being respectful is the biggest thing. For myself, I'm just a young woman in her early 20s. So
oh, yeah, there it is. There it is, chat. She's in her early 20s. So you got the world. The world is your oyster right now. You're the most attractive thing on the market. That's literally the time where men cross-culturally think that women are the most attractive. 22 years old. You're living life. You don't even see what's coming ahead because no one's told you. No other woman has stepped in and been honest with you because they've made the same mistakes and they don't want to tell you because they don't want to be honest that they regret their decisions. Because sometimes it's really hard for women to drop their pride and admit when they're wrong. Same with some guys, don't get me wrong, same with some guys too. But guys, when you have to deal in hierarchies where you have leadership, it's a lot easier to be accountable when you fuck up. Because you kind of have to learn to be accountable in order to self-reflect and become better. But if you don't have that as much, then obviously it's going to, and then you have people every day telling you that you're perfect, you're beautiful, you're amazing, then obviously you're going to build some sort of ego.
Guys that are in my dating pool don't even know how to, make a woman feel special, like it's just for them. I see them turning their heads when we're walking on a date together, and that just makes me feel like they're looking for options and things of that nature. So I think if a guy was trying to impress a woman or, change certain habits about himself, making a woman feel heard and respected about whatever the topic may be goes a very long way.
I would say the first step is to stop feeling sorry for yourself, because just like you're not attracted to everybody, not everyone's going to be attracted to you. That's just human nature. I guess it's different for everyone. I don't know who these sexless men are, but for a lot of them, it could just be as simple as, I don't know,
getting sex. It can be as simple as just talking to a girl. All you gotta do is go start a random conversation with a person you've never met before. That's easy.
Simple as, I don't know, work harder on yourself, or where are the pieces that you're missing? And if you're insecure,
I spoke too soon. W take.
Not having the best job, why don't you look into changing careers? Or if you're insecure about how you look, go to the gym. I don't know. Or just love yourself. I'm sure. I don't know how to do that. I don't know. It's not easy to fight insecurities, but therapy.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You don't need to sit there and have somebody tell you about your problems all the time. And I know that that's a hot take. Let me go back to what's it called. I know that's a hot take, but I think the therapy thing's been oversaid. Like, I think we get it. We're to the point, like, every guy that isn't put together doesn't just need to go sit there and talk to some other person that doesn't have their life together all day. Maybe they just need to go out there and be competitive and challenge themselves. Because when you're competitive and you challenge yourself, you naturally have to be more self-reflective. You have to be. Because the only way you can get better is if you can identify the parts of yourself that need to get better. So you naturally become more self-reflective. You naturally become more conscious as you live because you're actively trying to be better instead of just going through life this, I can't get no coochie. I'm just going to sit in my room and beat my meat with just my blue light on from my computer resonating off my face, just crying and being a little, you can't do that. You can't do that. You got to be competitive. You got to continue to compete. And I know we live in this world where everybody's telling you that you get a participation medal, but it's quite obvious you don't if 30% of women or 30% of men aren't sleeping with anybody, are virgins, or haven't had sex in the last year. If 30% of men are virgins or haven't had sex in the last year, what percent of men have had sex maybe 2 times? This is the first time in human history where women between the age of 18 and 24 have more sexual partners than men in that same age. That doesn't make like men feel the type of way. Like that don't feel like what's going on. And I guess the only solution that you would ever have to your problem, similar to like things like depression where people tell you to just sit there and be hopeless, is to try to work on yourself. That's why I gave her a W take. Because that's all you can do. And I know that's what women tell you to do, but then they just move the goalposts, make it a little harder. I get the argument on both sides. But at the end of the day, women are going to want whatever they want. So you might as well figure out what they want and try to become the most like that if you want an actual chance. But you compete against me too, so.
Stop going to the bars every weekend.
And I'm not losing. I'm not losing.
Unattractive when you're wasted with your buddies, and in this day and age, everybody thinks, the boys, let's get drunk, Sunday beers, Saturday beers. It's so not cute. So I don't know. Of course, going out is nice, but to be sitting in a bar all day, every day is just, it's a no-go for me, so.
How many, like, what's the chance that she's a little older? And she's already done it, and now she wants a family, around that 27, 28, 29 kind of range, where you've already had your fun, you've already drank, and now you're going, I don't want the guys my age to be doing what I was doing when I had all my value in the dating market. Now that they have their value, I don't want them to do the exact same thing that I did and go after the younger girls. They must be pedos. They gotta be pedos if they want to go after the younger girls. Well, what's the chance? What chance do y'all think that she is that she is older, like late 20s? I won't say older because I'm late 20s too, but like towards the closer to the wall. What chance?
Have confidence, which is easier said than done, obviously. I think when you're looking for someone, like you're looking for a relationship, you're probably not going to end up in a great one. I think if you're just like, I need love, I need this.
Is this the same girl that said if they want to get a better job, they should go after it? What kind of sense does that make? In what part of life does it work that way? Where you want something and you shouldn't try to get it. Because trying to get it is going to make you worse off than trying to get it. Or than not trying to get it. And what thing in life works that way? Why do women think that like a man is just going to pop up Like, they don't have to do anything. Like, guys have to go to the gym. Guys have to try to be more competitive. Guys have to be more articulate, have social skills. Guys have to be super competent. Guys have to make a bunch of money. And that's all to get a woman. But for women, you can just sit around and not really care about a relationship. I think that comes from the fact that women don't have to compete for procreation. I genuinely think that. I think that a lot of the difference between men and women's understanding and perspective on life is whether you have to compete for procreation or whether you don't. Because the only way you can believe in hell that you could just sit around and at 32 or 29, you can shoot a buzzer beater and some dude that's worked his entire life is just going to come save you when he has an endless amount of options now. He got an endless amount of young options of women that are promiscuous. You've told, just like when you were young, y'all just going out to sleep with everybody. And now that he can sleep with anybody he wants to, or at least a decent portion, or at least he has the ability to do it in general, he's just going to go, nope, I forfeit that. I'm going to get married to you now after you did all of that.
I need that. You're not going to end up happy. It has to start here. But obviously everyone wants to be with someone. So going for people that it actually makes sense, the combination, and not just being like, I think people overlook people because they're like, well, I want a girl that looks like that.
Yeah, but like, I get kind of, he said, Jay Malik said, I'm with her though. I'm 23 and I think dudes need to grow up. Nobody cares how drunk you got during the weekend. I refuse to date a female who goes out and gets drunk, and I refuse to do that myself. Yeah, I agree with her too if she actually lived that life when she had the ability to do it and when that's what she wanted to do. I agree with her in that case. But I'm willing to bet she's in her later 20s. She already did all the things she's talking about. Now she's gotten bored of it because it's not fun and it's a means to no end. She's getting a little older, so she's starting to look for a man that actually has good... She's looking for a good guy now. She's looking for a guy that doesn't do those things anymore. And those women exist, and sometimes those women get those men and they genuinely become happy. But sometimes those women get those men and they compare their current relationship to the one they had with the toxic guy and say, I'm bored, so I'm going to leave. That's what happens. So yeah, I get it too. I think it's a W in a sense, but I also think that you have to go out there. You don't need to be drunk to go out there to pursue what you want. And if you want a relationship, I would argue that probably not drinking, even when you go out, will help if you want a relationship. No, it do get you more social. Drinking does get you a little bit more social. But yeah, you don't have to be drunk to find a relationship. You don't have to go out to bars every weekend to find a relationship. But it is getting harder, I must say that.
Yeah, though, and maybe that's not going to be your thing at the moment. So just not putting too much pressure on yourself and going... I don't know. I feel like it's not a bad thing to not be in a relationship or sleeping with people at all times. I think it can be a really good thing. So
W take.
The obsession with that can, I don't know, I think it just hurts people.
Yeah, I think it puts a lot of pressure on guys too. And then when you hear things come out like the rise of lonely men, well, just because someone's single doesn't mean they're lonely. But it's automatically kind of assumed that they are.
I would say just pick up on...
Chat! I'm getting big,
the way
chat!
She's communicating with you. Like if
you competing against me, chat!
If you're reaching out to a girl and she's constantly like busy or she's not putting in like any effort into meeting up with you, like don't spend so much time like pursuing that girl and start looking in other areas. Because I feel like sometimes people have a tough time.
W take. Hold on, let me go back a little bit to hear that take again.
Maybe effort into meeting up with you. Like don't spend so much time like pursuing that girl and start looking.
W take. Chat, W take. Chat, is that a W take? I don't care, bro. If a woman is not willing to reciprocate, bro, it does not matter. I don't care how pretty she is. I don't care about how much you want her. I don't care if she's a good person. I don't care if you've known her forever. Cool, fine. Keep her around. Keep her as your friend. Keep your distance away from her. Make sure you focus on yourself, though. Actually, I won't even say keep her as your friend, because what dudes will do is they'll keep them as their friend, and then they'll keep convincing themselves that this girl is actually going to be with them. And sometimes the girl kind of plays on it. Sometimes you go out and you might find a little bit of happiness. You start to get attached to another girl, and she'll go, I don't really like that. Let me reel you back in. Sometimes that happens. But if a woman ain't reciprocating value, I think that's a W take. W's in the chat. Is a W in the chat. If a woman is not reciprocating value, it's a dub. It's a L. Like, don't even deal with her anymore. Why would you give your currency, your attention, which is your currency, to a woman that does not even give a shit about you, bro? I won't say she don't give a shit about you. Maybe she does care about you to some degree. But, I mean, you know what it is. You know what it is. She know what it is. She knows you kind of like her. But you need to figure it out. You need to make her say it so you can stop. Make her say it. Make the decision on whether she likes you or not. And then from there, you got to choose on if you want to sit there and be her friend and be her shoulder to lean on and cry on every time she gets dumped by a dude and then she going to come to you, the dude that she probably should be with. She going to come to you. Or maybe she shouldn't be with you because you're not assertive enough. You're not dominant enough. You're not willing to make that step. You're not willing to show her that you can be that guy. You just want to sit there and, boy, can I get a little piece of Gucci, please? Oh, he's a meanie. Why do you keep doing this? You just want to sit there and cry and whine. So now the girl that you want to be with is going to keep getting pumped and dumped by other dudes. And you're going to be the shoulder to cry on. Or not even pumped by different dudes, but the same dude. You're going to be the shoulder to cry on because you ain't willing to step up and make the move or to disassociate if that's what you feel like you need to do. Because you're not helping her, bro. You're not helping her. All of that, oh, he's a bad guy. He's in the wrong. Blah, blah, blah. She don't care. If she wants that dude, she's going to keep going to him. So if a woman ain't willing to reciprocate value, especially if you're in a relationship, if a woman's not reciprocating attention, if a woman's not showing interest in you, sexually, if that's what you want to take it, but you got to be honest with yourself. Stop trying to act like you want to be a friend if you want to be more than that. So you got to be honest with yourself first. And if a woman don't want to take that step with you, then you got to go. You got to go. Like, not necessarily like, oh, F you, like, I'm not going to talk to you. Fuck, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. Not like that. But, like, it's okay to distance yourself from that because you want it more. You don't want to just be the little shoulder to cry. Just like women don't want to be the little pump and dump, the little, you know. Just like women don't want to be that woman. You don't want to be the guy that's just sitting there lollygagging while she being with other men. Like, that's understandable, bro. That's rational. You're not wrong for thinking that. You're not wrong for saying I want to be more with you or I don't want to be around as much. You're not wrong for that.
Looking in other areas because I feel like sometimes people have a tough time like picking up on those mixed signals maybe through like text message. Like if it's mixed signals, I feel like that's all you need to know to just like move past that.
Yes.
Like if it's not easy and not great. Like now I sound like I'm like saying like, oh, like she needs to be easy. Like that's not what I mean. Like I feel like if
So you're basically saying like don't chase women that don't want
I think
you back.
you need to like put in effort, like definitely put in some type of effort and show that you care. But like if you're
But you can't show her or make her feel like she's the only thing in your life that you have going good. It's that simple. You have to have a purpose that's bigger than your woman. And I'm saying that as a married guy. You have to have something, a plan for both of y'all. You have to have a goal so you can continue to be disciplined. Because if you don't have a goal, it's harder to be disciplined. And women respect that discipline because they understand they need that in their lives. They need that guidance. They understand that man that's able to be disciplined and that's able to be assertive and able to speak his mind is going to be the one that's best at raising their kids. You don't want to have a kid with a dude that's just going to let the kid do whatever they want. The mother wants to be the one that comforts the kid. You need to be the one that says, get up, go back out there. You got to do that. The assertiveness. It's attractive, bro. Women like that. Women ain't gonna say they like it. Some women ain't gonna say they like it, but they love that shit, bro. It's the assertiveness without being an asshole, though. You have to learn how to read the room. You have to have some sort of social skills. You can't just be demanding women to do shit for you. You have to read the room. You have to get good at it. And there are plenty of pickup artists on YouTube that teach men how to be good at pickup. And pickup is a bad thing if you're using it to just sleep with women randomly and you don't care. But pickup can be a good thing too if you want to take care of a woman for the rest of her life. You feel me? Like if that's your end goal, then you using your power for the benefit. So just like anything, having the ability to talk to women better is a pro and a con, and you should use it for the good part.
Getting like oh, I can't tonight, like maybe like next week or something, like over and over again, to the point where you're just putting in all your like time into one.
You have to have something more important. That's all she's trying to say. You have to have something you care about a little more. Yeah, you can't show her that that's all you have going on is her. You have to have some bigger, grander plan.
I don't know how to put this.
Like knowing when to walk away, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Like knowing when to walk away and like not putting so much time into somebody who doesn't seem that interested in you. You know, maybe it's time to explore other avenues.
Yeah, I think a man not seeming too desperate or too clingy is a big thing.
Because when you're too clingy, it shows that that's the only thing you have going on in your life. That's what it comes down to. You can't show that that's the only thing you have going on in your life. It's that simple. This video is 33 minutes. Next video, what do y'all think? Let's see. Actually, well, what time is it? Yeah, it's 6. I've probably been on, 2 hours? Yeah, y'all, I've been on 2 hours. Probably finna head out, not gonna lie. I do want to get better at the streaming stuff. I have my camera. Hold up, let me show y'all my camera real quick. I literally just got it in the mail today. So, I'm gonna have better video quality. People have been telling me to take the step. So, I ended up buying a camera. We'll see how it works because I do like the fact that my videos are kind of... What do y'all think? Better camera? Better camera for the W or better camera for the L? Like it's an L to have a better camera. Because I think that the organicness of it helps. But the better camera, it just gives you a better... It's better quality. Who doesn't like nice things? Who doesn't like nice things? Right? So I got better quality. So I'm thinking like, I have the little blue Yeti mic. W stream. Appreciate that, y'all. Yeah, so I have the Blue Yeti mic. I have the new, what's this, Conan Rebel camera. I'll probably start making my videos off this from now on. When I get it hooked up, whenever I have the time. I'm always so fucking busy in all honesty. But it's a good thing. It's a good thing to be busy. But yeah, I plan on live streaming more. I think it's going to get me better at long form conversations. That's kind of what I'm building my brand towards. Right now I'm in a weird spot, and I know a lot of media companies or a lot of people that work in the media or kind of do what I do get in this position, but it's where you realize that what you want to put out there, when you're trying to get to the mainstream, which I'm at like 650,000 subscribers or 660,000 or something like that. And when you're trying to make the step into the next group, because I do want to hit 1 million subscribers, when you're trying to make that step, you find out that not a lot of people like to critically think that much. Most people just like a little quick little hit of dopamine. And I think a lot of media companies deal with that when it comes to like what they put out and why like Fox is geared towards this audience, why CNN is geared towards this audience, and why it's so separated, because those people are stimulated by specific things. You know, like people in Fox, they want to hear that some black or Hispanic dude is in the suburbs. Like they stream, it's a fact that they stream more crimes that happen to white people in the suburbs by black and Hispanic people, because it builds up fear and it gets them more clicks. I won't say it builds up fear, but I'll say because it gets them more clicks. I don't think their intention is to build fear, but the truth of the matter is that's what gets them clicks. So I'm like, I don't want to go like, but I don't want to go into that position. So that's why I'm doing the live streaming, and I'm trying to get better at long form conversations, because either I go the podcast route or the more live streamy, more long form route, or I have to dumb down the videos like massively just to reach a group like a bigger audience. And I don't really want to do that. Actually, there's a video called The Art of Dumbing Down. I think we should watch it together. They kind of talk about just like, well, I'll just recommend it to y'all. Y'all can watch it another time. But it's by this guy named Dupley or whatever. I don't know how to say his name. But it's a really interesting video, and it talks about just the fact that the vast majority of people don't really like to critical think. And so whenever you go mainstream, it's kind of just like selling people the candy. And I think everybody, no matter how noble your message is, you're really tested when you have the ability to push out bullshit and make more money, but you want to choose not to because you understand the value in what you're saying and doing. I don't know how to explain that. I'm just trying to not like go down that route so I can like grow my channel and shit. So that's what I've been kind of contemplating a little bit. But I do know that I do want to go live stream. I do want to do longer form conversations because I think that articulation is OP. I think that having the ability to talk to people is literally what controls the world. It literally, the ability to, it doesn't matter how good your ideas are if you don't know how to articulate them. So I think the better you get at articulation, technically the smarter you get because the better you are at purveying your message to other people. And I just want to get better at that. I'm on a mission to get better. So that's what I'm trying to do. But I appreciate y'all for coming to the stream. Tomorrow, I plan on streaming tomorrow. I don't think I will Friday because I'll have to fly. I'll be in Chicago. So I'll take some of my set and I'll be in Chicago. But yeah, I'll definitely stream tomorrow and I'll try to stream the next day. Send me videos that y'all think are interesting. Actually, matter of fact, for the people that stayed, I might as well just show y'all. I might as well give y'all my Discord link. W Discord link or L Discord link? How about this? How about I put the Discord in a community post literally right now? Like I can do it right now. I put it in a community post on this channel, PMP Live. So anybody who actually came over and like joined me and was interested in the live, I obviously know that y'all are gonna support me to a different level than people. You know, if you're interested in hearing somebody talk shit for 2 hours, you know, you're probably a good supporter of that person. Or you at least like what they're saying to a certain degree. So let me see. I'll put it. I'm gonna make a community post like in the next. Give me 10 minutes after the live stream for it to be up, and I'll have my Discord server in there, and we could give it a test for like a couple days, and then when everybody else gets hip to the new wave, they'll be a little late to Discord because I think y'all deserve it. So. And y'all can let me know too. It's for feedback as well. So if it sucks, let me know, and I'll try to fix things. I'll try to move things around. I'm still learning everything too. So, and the Discord is gonna get better over time. I'm not saying it's fully complete, but if you guys have screenshots or like GIFs or anything like that, put it in the memes tab or in the memes. What is it? Is it server or just tab? Whatever. Put it in the memes tab on the Discord so that I can use those for on the Discord. I guess I need some GIFs and screen and little memes and shit. So help me with that. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna head out, y'all, but I'm gonna put that Discord link. It's gonna be in a community post. I'm gonna put it out. I got y'all. Give me 10 minutes. It should be there before the 10 minutes is up, but at the very latest, 10 minutes. Till next time.